Hi, and welcome to the Convos podcast, where we sit and talk about the nitty-gritty aspects of student life. We have new episodes out every other Monday, so be sure to subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, follow us if you're listening on Spotify, and check out our Instagram at the Convos podcast. Hello, and welcome to another Cafeteria Conversation.
Today, our hosts are Kaila and Maddie and me, Anna.
Today's topic is advice to our grade 9 selves. So I'm going to kick it off with my first point of something I would wish I could tell my grade 9 self, and that is allow yourself to be a grade 9. I remember going into grade 9 and I don't know about you guys, if niner was a really common term thrown around in your high school, because at least at our school, it was like, oh, you're a niner? Oh, you're a niner? It was just like, so I obviously, in my little 14, 15-year-old brain, was like, I don't want to not be cool in high school. And so I kind of really pushed myself to be like anything other than like a grade 9, which looking back on, I really wish I had allowed myself to go through that first year and be kind of awkward, be 15, be young, and in a way like be cringy, I guess. As much as like it is embarrassing, I wish I cared a little bit less about how I was being perceived by everyone else. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know, that was something that took up a lot of my brain space.
Yeah, you really don't need to project yourself to be, like a grade 11, grade 12, pretending to be an older age than you really are. It's really not that important. Allow yourself to have fun with what you're doing, or, even if it's cringy sometimes, it happens. You allow that to happen. It's part of, growing up and becoming a grade 11 or a grade 12.
Yeah. I think also a part of it is just the commercialized high school dream that everyone tries to sell to you, that you have to be doing this, this, and this, or you're not getting the full high school experience. Yeah. And it's just I don't know, I guess in a sense, at least for me, I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to be this perfect persona of a student, both academically, socially, in all aspects of different things, of trying to be put together, cool, mature, and all that stuff. So, which in hindsight, took a lot out of me, and was not really fun to have to try to force all the time. So
yeah, I'd say definitely don't try not to force yourself to be things that just aren't part of your identity, because a lot of people find themselves because you're in a new environment and you're meeting new people and you want to be friends with new people, you start trying to adopt interests that maybe really aren't your kind of thing, and you generally shape yourself into what you think other people want you to be.
Yeah.
Which is not always it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Because sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You really don't need to try to fit into the stereotype. You don't need to be a nerd, or you don't need to be a jock. You can be yourself. You don't have to pick up different things just to fit in with people. You're going to find people that align with your interests anyways, regardless of, what you're into or what you enjoy doing outside of school.
Yeah, and I think going off of the whole thing about fitting into a stereotype or fitting into a label, I have such an issue with labels now, just because people are not singular facets of a person, or singular facets of a personality, right? You can be more than a quote unquote jock, be more than a quote unquote nerd, right? There's so many layers to a person, even if they are 14, 15 is 14 or 15, especially if they're 14 and 15, because they don't know what, I didn't know what I wanted to do in grade 9. I didn't know who I was. I didn't have any sort of identity or sense of self, and I tried really hard to kind of say, oh, well, these kids are super, super cool. They're doing this and this. I'm going to try doing this and this, because then maybe I'll find that same sense of identity or belonging with them. When in hindsight, I think it would have been better to really allow myself to find interests on my own and just allow myself to build friends that way. You know, like
Yeah.
And even if you do align with an identity, like you are, a part of the robotics club, you enjoy doing that kind of thing, it doesn't mean that you have to fit in with that group of people 100% of the time. You're allowed to do other things other than, what you're known for. You don't have to always fit into that.
yeah, you don't have to brand yourself as a certain type of person, I guess,
Exactly.
is what we're trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I find that when you try too hard to shape yourself for other people, the friends that you end up making, the friendships are really shallow from that because they don't know the genuine you. You don't know the genuine them. You just think like, oh, we have this thing in common, or we both dress this way, or we both hang out with this person and that person. You don't really know them
Mm-hmm.
just because you have things in common like that.
Yeah. And I've heard like, I don't know, maybe you've heard this kind of like thinking before, but it's something that like someone said to me once, and I was really like, yeah, like, why are you going to like build this false expectation or false identity of who you are in order to make someone feel like they want to be friends with you, because then they're not actually really friends with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So I just allow yourself to have fun, allow yourself to grow, and it's okay to be 14, 15. You don't have to be 18 in grade 9. That's something I would tell myself.
Yeah. Definitely one thing that I would tell myself if I had the chance is to try to break. I am a very big procrastinator. Very, very big. Or at least I used to be very big. I think I've improved on it a little bit, I hope. But it used to be at the point where I would be finishing assignments at maybe 12 in the morning because I just couldn't physically start it earlier. And it would be due the next day in class. So it's just, it would make my life so much easier if I just could put my foot down and start that project or start that essay, because ultimately by rushing it at the very end, it's led to some poor quality work sometimes that has, affected my mark. So I just really wish that I learned earlier how to stop procrastinating. And I think I'm better at it now. I feel like I've improved, and that's, become a little bit better. I'll actually, try to schedule out when I'm going to do work instead of just cramming it all at the end, because it's just not healthy, and I would burn out.
Yeah. No, definitely procrastination. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay, I think my procrastination. I know Maddie has like said before, like, "Oh man, I'm on 3 hours of sleep because I just didn't do it."
Yeah, no, I just days before tests, I would have 2 hours of sleep because I needed to cram the studying in because I didn't get it done.
Didn't you like do that last week or like this week for our chemistry test? Didn't you like say you were?
It still happens sometimes. I've gotten better at it. It still does happen sometimes, though.
For sure, it's definitely something that we're we're still all learning.
Yeah, for sure.
I think my procrastination is always kind of manifested as like, I'm gonna start this project super super early, get through like half of it, and I'm like, oh, I'm so early, I don't need to do it, and I'm finishing it the night before.
The rabbit, the tortoise, and the hare.
Yeah, no, I'm very bad in that way, but yeah. Oh,
It would just make my life so much easier if I just learned earlier how to get things started. Because that's the big thing. I can never get things started because I always tell myself I have more time later. I have more time later. And it's 2 a.m. the day before, and we have to start doing it then. And it's just, it's not helpful.
Even though, oh my gosh, do you remember like in grade 9 working on group projects? Maddie and I are totally opposites in terms of group things, and I love Maddie to death, but our project like group dynamic does not always work. Because I remember, because I'm such like a procrastinator, I would be starting like really early, and I'd be bugging him for like weeks. I'd be like, Maddie, you need to start doing
I
this.
wouldn't get it done until the day before she like absolutely needed it, and it
And
was
it would stress me out so much. But
Yeah.
I think that's another thing I would try to tell myself is like, don't freak out over everything, and don't take it out on other people.
100%.
I was very guilty of doing that, of like getting anxious and then like being anxious towards everyone else, which
But
isn't
you also
nice.
have to know, like it's not your fault if other people aren't the same like type of worker as you. Like
Yeah.
it just happens. It's good experience to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even if somebody's a slacker in your group or if somebody suddenly drops the ball, that's something that's going to be like around
Yeah.
forever, like into your career, into your workplace when you're an adult. That stuff's going to happen. So
Yeah. I think just like learning how to like differentiate like your group dynamics and like your, like, I guess I know it's high school, but like your quote unquote professional interactions with other people versus like your social interactions, like acknowledge that, like, because that's another thing, like I know like when teachers say group projects, you like want to group up with all your friends, but like seriously, when you get those bigger projects, like take the time to think, like, I know this person's my friend, but like, are you going to be able to work together? Like, does your work ethics and work style align? Because if it doesn't, it does lead to a lot of problems. So
no, you don't always have to work with your best friend on a project, 'cause it often ends up you're going to waste the time and you get in class, and then you're going to have to end up doing it later when you don't want to.
And then you're getting frustrated with each other. I was so mean.
We were at each other's
sometimes.
throats sometimes.
I was
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was very not always kind to some of my group members, and that is my fault. I do like take ownership over that. And sometimes like you're just gonna get people that you don't work that well with, and like learning how to deal with that and learning how to like be empathetic and understanding towards the people.
Yeah, it's important to learn how to work with other people, regardless of whether they get work done the minute it's assigned, or they wait until the very last minute.
Or just decide not to work with that person.
Yeah.
See ya, Maddie. Yeah. Anna, do you want to share anything?
I think, yeah, something that going into grade 9 that you don't really anticipate is that at least in like Canadian high schools and whatnot, you don't know most of the school that you go to. You don't know most of the people. You have a big jumble mix of classes. You don't get the same people to follow through your classes, so you have to meet a lot of new people, and you have to learn how to work with people that you don't know. And that was something I found really, really hard.
I hated that.
I was so scared to ask people, like, "Oh, do you want to be my partner?" Or
Groups
"Could you
random
do
group
your
projects,
work?"
bro. Group project. Okay. Side story. Last year of a really group projects are not my thing, especially with people I don't know. In chemistry last year, I got assigned a lab partner, and then my lab partner went to my teacher and was like, can I go be a group of 3 with my friends? And I was like actually so overjoyed by that because then I didn't have to talk to him. Sorry.
Wow.
Group projects with random partners are sometimes some of the scariest things you can get, because you just don't know who you're going to work with, or how they work or who they work with.
Yeah.
So while it's important to not always work with your best friends, it's also really scary sometimes to work with someone you just haven't met in the class or don't talk to regularly.
Yeah. Especially because that's another thing. Like I know for me, like when I was in high school, like I met so many people that were so vastly different to me, and that's totally okay. But I was so lost sometimes. So like, how do I even interact with this person? We're like totally like different. Like I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to interact with you. But yeah.
Yeah. Because there's just like having been like growing up in different environments, like different school environments, and just like socially developing differently, it's really crazy when your when your paths cross with somebody who's just like totally different, and it's really hard to communicate, I
Yeah.
guess, with those kind of people.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like a bad thing. Like it
Definitely
might
not.
be difficult, but it's not. At least me, I don't find it like unpleasant to
No.
talk to somebody new
Yeah.
in just a way that I wouldn't typically expect to talk to someone.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love talking to people that are like totally different, like aspects. Like not to use Maddie as an example again, but like Maddie and I are very different, yet
Yeah.
I think we are pretty close. I like to think we're pretty close.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Let me know if I'm wrong. Like, tell me if
Yeah.
we're not really. Anyways, but I think when Maddie and I first met, Maddie was shorter than me.
I was
That's not
short in grade
relevant.
9.
That's
I
not
was short.
relevant. That wasn't relevant.
Thanks for that. But yes, I was short
Sorry.
in grade 9. I'm sorry. I didn't grow.
No, don't
He's
apologize. I meant more. That was
apologizing.
more. He was just someone that like I never really would have thought we would get along because he was like this really like all I knew about Maddie was that he played the clarinet and that he liked hockey. And I don't play the clarinet and I don't like hockey. So I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna talk to this guy. We're just gonna be sitting together at lunch and we're just gonna like awkwardly be like, hi.
We're just gonna sit there like, hey, I
Hi,
know
how's
this person, you also know this person. That's why we're here
yeah.
together, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how's it? Yeah, right. Like, but then when you get to talking to people, I think when you have those differences is when you find so many more similarities. Like as cheesy as that sounds, because now I got Maddie into books, and I'm very proud.
I don't know how. I still can't figure out why. But yes.
Yes, and TV
Yeah.
shows like I don't know. It just you don't realize how many things you have in common with people until you can kind of like look at the differences and be like, oh, wow, we're also really similar though.
Until you actually have that conversation.
Yeah.
I was gonna say just that that's a whole reason why you shouldn't rely on shallow interests to like befriend someone or consider somebody a potential friend, because you never know, like
Yeah.
you can have a lot in common with somebody who's totally different from you, and even if you don't have a lot in common, there's always relationships that you can build together, interests that you can find together. And if you don't if you block that off early on because you think that you're just stereotypically different, you're not going to be able to make those connections with anyone.
Exactly.
And you won't have like deep friendships with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And friendships so important in high school, in my opinion. Like, I would not be anywhere near where I am without the friends that I've made.
Friendships are important, really important in high school, because like you definitely need people to encourage you now and then, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be able to talk to people,
Yeah.
because it's really important life skill, and just in general, sharing how you feel about things, or maybe things you're worried about, or if you need help with things, there's always someone to go to.
Yeah. And I think I would kind of emphasize this in less of like a cheesy like, oh, make friends, but more as in like really cherish the friends that you have. Like I was very fortunate to go into high school with two really close friends that I kind of like I was like confident, like even if other people don't like me, I've got these two people and they're going to be okay. And while that was really good, I also think I blocked myself off from making close friends because of that, because I was like, oh well, I have two friends, like I don't really need to make other friends. Yeah. And I didn't really get close to like some of the other people on this podcast until like literally the 11th grade, because I didn't allow myself to build those friendships and I didn't allow myself to get close to those people because I was so like either insistent in my own head that like, oh, they didn't want to be close to me, or I already have like 2 friends. Like, and it's not like having close friends is good, but it's also like I can look back now and see like I really limited myself socially in some ways because I didn't allow myself to like make friends. Essentially, like self-sabotage. Yeah.
No. But moving on from friends, can we talk about real quick half food and how much money we spend
Oh
on
my
food
gosh, I
as
spend
students?
so much
It's
money in the
not
cafeteria.
good. It's
Don't spend your money in the cafeteria.
whatever you do, pack lunch, bring lunch in. Do not
Yes.
spend money on
Yes.
food from your caf
Yeah,
because it's
PSA.
overpriced.
It isn't uncool to have a lunch bag. Just saying.
I wish I had a lunch bag. Oh my gosh, Anna, do you remember? Okay, did you ever feel like kind of like not like stupid, but like kind of like lame because we would have to go walk to our lockers to get our lunch bags because we didn't want to carry our bags around? Did you ever feel like really bad dragging all of our friends to the like end of the school to go get our lunch stuff and then all the way there at the end of the lunch period to put our lunch stuff back, or was that just me?
I mean, I definitely felt embarrassed to just be eating lunch in general. I don't know. It's just one of those silly things that eventually you just realize, oh, that doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Like I just thought I used to. I know you remember this. I brought microwavable lunch all the time because I wanted hot food and didn't want to buy from the
Yes.
caf.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just so embarrassed. Like, bro, that's
Okay.
so cringe. I have to line up for the microwave and I just stand there. But like nobody,
Everyone
cares.
lines up for the
Nobody
freaking
cares.
microwaves.
Nobody cares what you're
Also,
doing.
I was a little bit jealous that you had hot lunches every day because I did not. I had to like if I wanted lunch, I had to get up and make it, and I am not good at getting up in the morning, so I didn't bring lunch. Hence, I spent too much money on caf food. That the amount of French fries I ate was probably not good for me. Point blank. Period. Like, don't. I know it's like a novelty thing, but just be careful because it adds up. It's not cheap.
I am very much not a morning person, so I would never get up to make lunch. I'm the kind of person that rolls out of bed 5 minutes before. I remember I timed how much time it takes me to walk to my bus stop so I could figure out exactly the time I need to get out of bed to make
You timed yourself on how long
It's
it
a
took you to
5-minute
get.
walk down the street to get to my bus stop and be on
Oh my
time.
gosh.
But
That's even if you get up out of bed.
Exactly. But it's just I never had the time to make lunch, so I spent a lot of money on cat food, and I really wish I didn't because I did the math. Okay, our school has a church right across the street, and they sell pizzas every Wednesday. It's like a large Domino's box for $10, and I always got that on Wednesdays. I didn't eat half food so much per se. I ate a lot of pizza. That Wednesday I had pizza every week, but it adds up. $10 a week over how many weeks are school?
Yeah. Like
Not like 40 weeks.
probably something
Maybe
like that.
that's $400 a year, and that's a lot of
and
money
they
on
steal your
food.
money.
It
Okay.
adds up.
Like not to trash talk cafeterias, because cafeterias, like I'm sure, like they have the like they serve a purpose. Like if you need lunch, please go buy lunch. Like I'm not telling you to
Of
skip
course.
lunch. Don't skip lunch. Please go eat food, drink water, eat food, sleep well. Okay, that's out of the way. But like just, I would buy a lot of snacks because that was kind of my downfall. Pretzels were like $2 in the caf, but I would get like pretzels every day, so that's like it adds up. Like it does. It adds up really quickly, and I would look at my bank account and I'd be like, oh wow, I spent that much money on the caf this week.
Yeah.
I just stopped bringing my wallet to school.
It's not good. Don't get in a habit.
Yeah, don't do it. Because then I would borrow money from other people because I was like, I really want a snack, and it's like $2. It's fine. Anyways, that's caf food. Don't buy it.
And even if you live, if your school is like, I know there's a lot of high schools that have like a mall nearby or like
oh my gosh, yeah,
a food plaza nearby. That sounds very great, but still, it's still good to,
save money.
Eat regular food. Still healthier to eat regular food most of the time.
Yeah.
in our case, it's definitely like with the restaurants that we have around us. We have a bunch of fast food places on the street nearby.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than
God.
the caf, but again, don't go every day because it adds up. Still, it still
Yeah.
costs money.
And it's like I remember seeing, and not only that, now like Uber Eats even like we see
Yeah.
I've seen so many kids. I'm definitely guilty of this of ordering $10 for one bubble tea drink because it's like I don't know, like it makes you feel cool, I guess it included like, oh look at me, I got my like drink. But like yeah, it's definitely like food and like the freedom because I understand like it's kind of cool like, oh, you get to leave school to go for lunch and you get to go out and do this, like there's a certain sense of freedom to it, but just financially and health wise, just be careful.
Just limit yourself. It's definitely good to spend some money
Yeah.
and go have fun every so often, but it's not an everyday thing. Please, please
Definitely
don't spend that money every day to walk.
Yeah, unless okay, again, I'm just gonna put this out there. If your circumstance requires you to do that, obviously do what you need to do.
Of course.
Again, please don't not eat. But if it's like, because I've definitely been guilty of like, I would bring lunch to school and then just not eat the lunch I brought to school because I decided to go out with friends. So I'm just saying, in those cases, maybe just like, yeah.
Meal prep the night before is the biggest thing. I started doing that every so often. It's the easiest way because I could still manage to wake up, like 5 minutes. You don't get to say anything about that. The best meal.
Yeah.
But just prepping the night before, it's so much easier because you can just grab it and walk out the door and you're fine.
Your 5-minute walk to the bus stop, it doesn't get affected.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, that's the calf. You know what? Speaking of the calf, another thing I really like to tell myself is, shh. You don't need to be the loudest person in the calf. Oh my gosh. Okay. Our friend group in grade 9 was so obnoxiously loud in the cafeteria. Yeah. At least I was. I can't speak for
everybody was. Everybody was.
I would like to go back and tell myself to just quiet down a bit.
Yeah, that's one of the things that the whole Niner look is just you can tell what grade somebody is in by just how bad they want to be heard. And especially like freshmen are always like they're new to the school, it's a new environment, they feel old, they feel cool, or they want to have fun. They walk around with speakers in their bags.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the speakers.
It's always just calm down. If your friends are gonna listen, then they're gonna listen.
Yeah.
If they're not gonna listen, they won't hear you.
Yeah.
We were all guilty of this. Like, okay, our cafeteria, we have the large round tables, and we could fit maybe 10, 15 people around it sitting in chairs. There would be 3 conversations going on. Somebody's talking about their math test that they just finished. Somebody's talking about another show while somebody's talking about, maybe band after school. And it just got so loud sometimes you couldn't hear anybody. So it just...
Yeah.
You really don't need to shout at each other during lunch.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. I do. Like, but just, like, have fun. I don't know. Like, I think all of this is a lot of this advice, it just, like, does come from a place of, like, I look back at myself and I'm a little bit embarrassed. So
just things we would do differently, maybe, now that we have hindsight.
Yeah, so, like, hindsight's always 20/20. But, I mean, I think, like, just be more conscious of the people around you, I think is something I would say. Because, like, in grade 10, 11, when I would sit in the caf afterwards and I would hear that group of grade 9s screaming at each other, I would get very annoyed very, like, quickly, like, naturally. And I would just be like, oh my gosh, like, was that what I was like? Like, I am so sorry.
You're fine.
I think just, like, be conscious and be aware of the other people around you, I think. Is what I'm trying to say.
When you're in grade 9, even hearing all the advice, you still don't like understand until you finish grade 9, and that's okay, because
definitely
it's definitely learning. You learn to see things that that you did before, and you observe other people, and you look back and like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But it's okay to do that, because that shows growth.
Yeah, like, have your fun. Like I said, like, be 14, be 15. Like, be a little bit embarrassing. Like, it's okay. You're gonna grow. Just...
It's not going to come back and stab you in the back kind of thing. You don't have to
Exactly.
worry about it.
Yeah, I would just say there is a bit of an edge there, in my opinion, of like being like young and having fun, and like sometimes being a little bit not mean. I don't know if I can explain this properly. Like there are parts of my grade 9 self where I'm like, yeah, that was just age. I was just immature. And then there was like there are parts of me that was like, I think I was just mean. So try to be a little bit less mean in the future.
And going back to, stabbing yourself in the back, you don't need to stress about your grade 9, grade 10 test marks as much as you really are. Like, I know, okay, we're all from the gifted program, like we've said before, so marks are very, very high priority to all of this. But honestly, I can't remember a single mark that I got on any one of my tests, 9 and 10, and nobody else remembers either.
Yeah.
It's not something that goes on any of your transcripts. You don't really have to worry about it, honestly. You don't have to stress yourself out to the point of, mental destruction over one test.
Oh my gosh, that's another thing. I would love to tell myself, like, it's not cool to be burnt out.
Really,
like, honestly. It's not cool to be like, oh, I didn't sleep till 3 a.m. last night because I was studying for a test. Like, that's not cool. That's not healthy. Like,
it's not good for you. I've been down that road, and I could tell you it's really just not good, because you'll be falling asleep in the class, and you're not learning. You're trying to get things over with. It's just not.
Yeah, and I also want to, like, just really quickly, like, if you are stressing out about your marks, that's okay too. Like, I think it's completely and 100% valid to stress out in grade 9. It's new, it's scary, stress out. You're allowed to stress out. You're entitled to feeling anxious about your tests and your assignments, and I don't want to take that away from you. But sometimes, like, you just have to, like, take, like, it sounds so cheesy, but, like, it's okay. You've put in as much effort as you can. You've tried as hard as you can. And sometimes you don't always get the results that you want. And it sucks and it hurts sometimes. But you will grow from it. You will move on from it. And you will learn from it. And ask your teachers for help. Your teachers want to help you.
Your teachers are
older students.
Yeah, or older. Yeah. Ask
a lot
people
of schools
for help.
have a program where you can sign up to have a mentor, and those are actually, like, you could be shy and think like, oh, I don't really want to talk to those people because they're not in my grade. I don't know if I would be able to really explain anything to them. They've been in your position. People who are older than you are great allies to have.
Yes. It's a bit of a mental hurdle to get over, to, like, want to ask people and, like, say, like put yourself out there. But I really, really encourage you, if you are struggling, ask someone for help, whether or not that's your guidance counselor that you really trust, whether or not it's a teacher you really, really like, or even if it's just an older student. Like, over the course of high school, I have found a lot of people that I've just, like, extremely looked up to, and I will go to them if I need things. Like, I have, like, my guidance counselor. He's amazing, so friendly. I go to him whenever I need anything, and he's always there to answer emails. Some of my, like, Maddie and I share a really great bio teacher.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. Like, he's just always there to help you. Like, your teachers want to help you, and I know there's that, like, rhetoric out there that, like, your teachers are out to get you. And you know what? Unfortunately, in some cases, you don't always get the greatest teachers, but you will find teachers that do want to support you, and utilize that.
On the topic of marks, I guess I would definitely tell myself that other people's marks shouldn't make you feel bad about your own, shouldn't make you feel better than them if your marks are better. It's not a good way to measure yourself. And that's what teachers are always saying, but, like, it feels like it's like a silly thing to think, but like as time goes on, as you start to be surrounded more by like this divide of people who really are really concerned about their marks versus people who don't care, it's definitely something that you shouldn't make yourself view others differently because of their marks compared to yours,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
whether it's better or worse than yours.
Yeah. It's
Comparing marks, slippery slope. You
it's
really,
so messy.
you
Be
don't want to
careful.
do that. Yeah.
Be careful. It's hard to pull yourself out of. I know, like, because you want to do well, and that's totally like,
Yeah, no, it's completely understandable to, want to succeed, to want to be top of the class. But if you aren't, it's not the end of the world again.
yeah, it's you're gonna have your bad tests. You're gonna have your bad units. Like, I remember the jump between grade 9 and grade 10 math. I cried so hard after that first math test because I was so sure I was gonna fail that course. And it's scary and everything, but the worst thing you can do to yourself is like start asking about other people's marks. I think I don't really like sharing my marks with other people, and I don't really like asking other people for their marks anymore, just because it opens up this gateway to just constant comparison of like, oh well, this person's getting this mark and I'm getting this mark, like, and we can't help it sometimes, like, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
But just be careful, and as cheesy as it sounds, your worth as a student and your worth as a human being is not represented by the number on your report card.
100%.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know, like, I guess those are just some of the things I wish I could have told myself. Take all of this with a grain of salt.
Honestly, yeah. Everybody's experience is different.
Yeah, and hopefully, I hope we didn't like scare anyone or like offend anyone. That wasn't our intention. This is just a lot of like us reflecting on what we said and like,
Yeah.
But just enjoy your time in high school. It really does go by fast.
All right. All right. So that has been our first episode of the CAF Convos podcast. Thank you to our listeners on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure to check out our Instagram at CAF Convos podcast. And if you have any questions or any topics that you want us to cover in the future, you can email us at cafconvospodcast@gmail.com or leave comments on our Instagram as well.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye, guys.